Hello, everybody. Welcome to Polytech, where politics meets the truth. Clarity and accountability are forefront for us. I'm your host, Dale, and today we'll be pulling back the curtain on a $220 million DHS ad campaign that may have crossed every ethical line possible. So the story has everything in it. Shell companies, paying consultants, moonlighting as a contractor, emergency contracting loopholes, and yes, a familiar face on a horseback at Mount Rushmore. Grab your coffee, grab your drink, whatever it may be, and let's get started on this story. So why don't we just get started at the top? The Department of Homeland Security launched a massive national ad blast that cost probably about $220 million to promote border policies and all this other rubbish that was kind of thrown into there in a collage of things. You've probably seen these ads on cable news, online, Prime TV, conservative media. It's really just kind of all over the place. But here's the twist on everything, and I want you to really think about this. The company that officially got the contract, listen to this, a brand new Delaware LLC called Safe America Media, created just days before the money started flowing in for this particular ad blitz that they were going to be doing. Normally, listen to this, man. I mean, this is like the normal process of how things should be done. So normally, something like $250 million project would go through a competitive bidding with at least 3 to 4 competitors coming in to put in a bid. DHS has kind of skipped that all together, citing it was really a border emergency and they need to get their message across very, very quickly. This alone kind of raises eyebrows across the political realm, and it's very suspicious. But the real story, right? It's not who got the contract, it's who actually did the work itself, and who pocketed that money, and got rich off of this, or partially rich with this. So ProPublica traced the actual production and messaging not to a Safe America Media, but to a strategy group, a major GOP consulting firm based in Ohio. They run campaigns for Republicans, usually heavyweight Republicans. And guess who's on their client list? Kristi Noem. They built the brand, the plumber, the welder, the state trooper ads, and the CEO is Benjamin Yoho. So keep that in your head. Keep that name in your head. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. The person running the communications at DHS, the office paying for this ad blitz, is Trisha McLaughlin. Guess whose wife this is? Yoho's wife. This is just like a major catastrophe happening right in front of everybody. And how did they think this wasn't going to be looked at or be suspicious? I really don't know. So DHS ad money flows through a shell company into a political firm run by spouse of DHS official overseeing the budget. Yes, she's overseeing the budget. You don't need a law degree to figure out this is all kind of left to right funky going on, and it's all wrong. It's clear as day that it is. One of the flagship ad features, Noem, in a full cowboy gear on a horseback with Mount Rushmore behind her, delivering a hardline message on illegal crossings. Now, I'm surprised that they didn't Photoshop or use AI to put Trump's face up on Mount Rushmore. But anyway, let's get off of that. Anyway, so let's think about something. A sitting administrator appearing in a federally funded campaign, produced by a firm that works for her, funded by a department by the spouse of that firm's CEO, and paid with taxpayers' money, with your money and my money. That's just not bad optics. That's flashing red lights. That's screaming sirens that something is wrong. So why does this matter, right? Why does it bother you, Dale? Why would it bother anybody else? Because it's our tax-paying dollars. Not only that, here's why this is a big deal. Transparency is gone. Safe America Media lists no subcontractors that worked on the project. The strategy group is invisible in official paperwork. Much of it's not even listed, and the money trail just goes all over the place. Conflict of interest everywhere where this thing is looked at. And when the spouse of a DHS official benefits from her Office of Budget, that is textbook conflict, and that's textbook scam. It really is. So, emergency procurement loopholes, DHS bypass competitive bidding, opening the door for politically connected firms where favors can be repaid and raw deals done that's going to go ahead and make taxpayers pay through their nose. So, political branding on taxpayers' dime. If these ads boosted Noem's national profile, which it did, that's a violation of federal ethical rules. Clear as day. Experts say this should trigger an inspector general's investigation and maybe even investigation and a hearing from Congress itself. So, how did DHS respond to this? Listen to this. It was just so nonchalant. DHS says they followed the rules, broke no rules at all. They claim that McLaughlin had pulled herself away from the project completely. They say career officials handled the contracting with detail and understanding of the sensitivity of this. But here's the problem. If you pull yourself out of a project and your spouse's company is cashing in on it, the public still deserves an answer, or at least deserves some clarity into what's going on. And when everything happens behind a shell company that didn't exist a week before the contract actually was released, the whole thing reeks. The whole thing smells, and it's very, very clear. It's very, very clear. Let's look at the larger pattern and everything, right? So Kristi Noem's image, rugged, law and order, cowgirl, dog killer, was crafted by a strategy group. So when she appears in taxpayer-funded ad campaigns tied to that same network, it really raises questions, and some deep questions. Was this government messaging or political branding disguised as government messaging? Because that crosses a line, a big line. The fallout from this, what happens now, ethics experts are calling for DHS Inspector General to investigate this. Congressional oversight committees want to review this on the Democratic side. Full disclosure of subcontractors are being requested and demanded so they can go through the details and the information of payment, where the money went, how much work was actually done. And that comes down to also the breakdown of where the $220 million went. Where did it end up at? Members of Congress are already signaling this isn't going away and it's going to be investigated. So, expert voices, ProPublica spoke to procurement experts who called this a textbook example of how emergency contracting can be abused and normally is abused. A federal ethics officer said, even if there's no direct evidence of influence, the appearance of wrongdoing seems very clear and overwhelming, and it needs to be addressed. And that's the point, right? Ethics, rules, they exist not just to prevent corruption, but to prevent the appearance of corruption. So we all have clarity on what's going on, because trust matters 100%. So what does this all mean to you? Why should you even care? Because this is your money. $220 million of taxpayer money spent in ways that we have blurred lines with, that we have no understanding if this was a personal ad, or if this was a branding ad, or was this a government ad? What was it? Nobody has any idea, and nobody's able to answer that as well. That's not democracy, gang. That's marketing with your wallet and your money. So at the end of the day, this is simple. Taxpayer money should never be used to enrich political allies or elevate elected officials, period. Not at all. This story speaks of bigger challenges, a government drifting towards secrecy, favoritism, and blurred lines between campaigning and governing and personal branding. We'll keep following this on Polytech because accountability matters to us and it matters to you, especially when they hope you're not listening and you're distracted and your head is still under the hood. So I'm Dale. Thanks for listening. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and stay tuned in to Polytech. You can listen to us on Substack. You can listen to us on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you.